This Burnley season preview edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by our Patreon. Score exclusive perks, content and contests, including our NFL win totals contest with a $1,000 prize. Join today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Welcome everybody to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England, and we are carrying on our 20-team preview for the Premier League season, which starts in 6 days' time. Holy shit, it's exciting. Joining us first off is Mr. Barry Penaluna. Hello, Baz.
Evening, Malcolm. How are you doing?
I am very well, Barry. We haven't done this much on the shows, but I am going to hand you the floor because it's the opening day of the EFL season. We did a EFL show the other night where we gave out a few futures, but then we gave out some picks. We gave out a couple of picks each for the card this afternoon, Baz, and you absolutely murdered everything. So go on, give yourself 30 seconds and tell us what you did.
I wasn't going to mention it.
Oh, way I.
Yeah, we did pick up a couple of picks, a couple of bankers and a couple of outsiders, and I picked Wigan 9-2 to beat Derby away from home. Won. I tipped MK Dons away from home at 9-2 to beat Wrexham. Won. And I tipped Barnsley to score 2 or more goals was the third one. And they won 7-0. 60-1, that treble coming up, Malcolm. So I put that out on Twitter earlier on. Absolutely smashed it. Great to get a first. I was looking forward to the AFL. I sat and watched Soccer Saturday on one TV. I had Newcastle on the laptop watching friendly against Fiorentina. But nice to just tick a few winners off to start the season off. So very good.
Yeah, there you go. So if any Burnley fans are coming to us new for the first time to consume a little bit of Burnley Premier League content, you can find us wherever you found us now. Spotify, Google, Apple, Premier League Gambling Podcast, on Twitter at SGPN Premier, and YouTube is Premier League Gambling Podcast. We do 2 or 3 shows a week. We'll do a pick show for the Premier League games. We'll cover the EFL, the European stuff, any international breaks, just a general bit of silliness, and we give out some things that we fancy. And occasionally, Baz will throw out the odd 60-1 winner. So we don't do that every week, but fantastic. However, the reason we're here tonight is we are 6 days away from the start of the Premier League season, and on match day 1, the Friday night game is Burnley against Manchester City, and we've been dying to do some Burnley chat. In the interest of honesty, we did this last week with Nathan, and between us, I think you all know how capable I am at work in the computer and that. We completely messed it up. So when Nathan says stuff, we're all going to pretend to be surprised by us. Yeah. We're going to go, ooh, even though we've heard it again. But it's Mr. Nathan Rogers. So, Nathan, thank you for coming back, because that's entirely our fault. We're hopeless. But yeah, first of all, tell us about your podcast, where we can find the Turfcast. And then you've been to the game today, haven't you? You've been to see some friendly action.
No, I didn't go. It was in Germany.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all right. I'd have loved to have gone. To be honest, it would have been an amazing. But like I say, I'm a newish dad, so it's dad life at the minute. So I don't get to go to them European friendlies. But yeah, we're Turfcast podcast, like dedicated Burnley channel. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Search for Turfcast. It'll pop up there. So we've got loads of good content coming up, and exciting content as well.
Brilliant. Thanks for coming and doing this again. We're even more excited actually than the last time we spoke, because it was a couple of weeks away, and now we're sort of under 7 days. So Burnley are one of the more interesting teams to do a preview on. Again, there's a few teams kind of what to expect. It's like, are they going to finish 14th or 15th? Well, Burnley have all manner of possibilities open to them at the moment. First of all, Nathan, just tell us about last season, like just from a fan's point of view. 101 points, 87 goals. You've got the brave new world under Vincent Kompany. It's not the Burnley that we know that disappeared out the Premier League. So they're coming back with this new identity. I mean, it must just be a whole shit ton of fun.
Oh, yeah. Last season were just one of the best seasons I've seen as a Burnley fan. It were almost almost, I say, perfect. In a perfect season, if we'd have got that points record and gone down as the best side in the Championship in history, it'd have just been perfect. We had a new swashbuckling style of play. We were battering teams, minus a couple of hiccups here and there against like Sheffield United and QPR and whatnot. But we beat our main rivals Rovers twice, and then won the league at their patch back end of the season. Which again, from a Burnley point of view, is it doesn't get much sweeter than that. Not only beating them on the patch, but actually winning the title that night. It was pretty special. And then to go on and get 101 points, it were as near a perfect a season as you could have got for a Burnley fan, to be honest with you. And one we won't forget in a hurry, I don't think.
I mean, essentially, that win against Blackburn, you could also say cost them a playoff place as well, didn't it?
Yeah, potentially.
They only missed out by a point at the end of it. So
yeah, I think they made their own bed and made their own mess that season. I think they, let's say on Blackburn the better.
Baz, we've a lot of these shows we've talked about our relationship with the team that we're covering. I haven't got much on Burnley, really. They haven't annoyed me an awful lot. I can't remember us battering them an awful lot. There's no sort of big standout 4-4 draws or anything mad like that. So, and I'm just looking forward to them. I think Burnley have definitely got a place in the league. I'd much rather they were there than a couple of the other smaller teams that we've talked about. But I don't know. As much as we hate everyone, I'm really struggling for a reason to hate Burnley at the minute, Baz.
No, I'm looking forward to seeing Burnley this year. I like Kompany as well. I mean, but as you say, there's no real reason down the road for us to have ever had any beef with Burnley. But clubs have got quite a bit in common in terms of players, haven't they? We've got Nick Pope, Trippier, and Jeff Hendrick on our books. if you fancy him back, I know obviously Chris Wood we had from Burnley. Yeah, you've just picked up Townsend. Is he signed now? Obviously, former Newcastle player.
He's still not signed yet. We're hearing a couple of rumours that it's not going to go ahead for medical reasons and whatnot. But he has played a few friendlies. But that is looking like it's sort of dragging on a little bit now. So it's sort of unknown to what's happening with Andros Townsend at the minute. It's a bit of a funny one.
If it doesn't go through, you can have Jeff Hendrick. Pick up his 80 grand a week wage bill or whatever he's on.
If Jeff can get 80 grand, then there's hope for all of us to get a decent whack in as a professional footballer, isn't there?
Speaking of players, transfer market, you've made a few signings. First of all, I want to mention the Burnley social media team, Twitter. They love their old Twitter player reveals, don't they?
Yeah, I don't know. They started doing it like 18 months ago, and I think they sort of tried one as we'll just give it a go, something a bit out there and funny, and it's sort of stuck, and everyone sort of loves it now, and they're sort of quite infamous now. The people expect the levels to go up, and I'm enjoying them. They're good fun.
The big player reveals used to be reserved for the big signings, and you do something special. Burnley just do it for everyone now.
Yeah, I like
the Zinc, Usual Suspect, and various other ones.
I like that.
I saw the Usual Suspects one. Who did the Teletubbies one? Was that Burnley as well?
Yeah, that were for our new lad Ziki Amdouni. Yeah,
that was incredible.
Don't ask me about the reference or the links. They did start off where they like linked them into the film, like they did the Nathan Teller one last season. They did the Generation game, and it was like him sat on the table and going, "Oh, an umbrella." Or here's a telephone, and it linked to them. Whereas now they're just.
I remember that one now.
Yeah, now they're just chucking in random films, whatever. They did a new one for the Luca Colio show that we've signed from Espana. That was good. That was like an Italian job reference. He's an Italian under 19, and I'd like it's nice to see they're not taking themselves too seriously. There's too much scrutiny to be so professional and on point these days, and I think they're just having a bit of fun, which is good. I don't mind it. It's good numbers for socials.
Then how are you feeling about the business you've done so far?
Really positive, Yeah, really positive. Like I say, we had a good summer last summer where we had to obviously rebuild from dropping into the Championship. And we've sort of followed that on again with another similar type of summer of signing unknown players, young upcoming players, but throwing in a few experienced heads in there as well. So, getting Nathan Redmond in was a good, solid signing for us. That's a good, experienced head. And on a free as well. Like I say, he's only 29. I thought he was like 36. He's been playing football for that long. He just
29. Wow.
I know, it's nuts that. Yeah, I thought he was a lot older than that. So yeah, hopefully he can bring in a bit of experience. And it's exciting. So it's hard to keep track of all these signings because it's not like we're plucking players from Championship, League One, or other people like we used to do. Now we're looking at like the Belgian second division, and I'm not going to sit here, even though I'm a podcaster content creator, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, he's mint this play. I'm a lot of times going, who the is this? And then I'm googling for a couple of hours and finding out who he is. But they've not let us down with the signings they've brought in, and if they continue to keep the doing, like I said, they've not given us a reason to doubt the signings. So anyone they're bringing in, unknown or not, I'm positive about them because they seem to make them stick and work.
We talked about this the other day about when you do sign players that you probably haven't heard of, you go on YouTube and you'll get a fan on Twitter who will make this 30-second clip. It can make anybody look absolutely amazing. Yeah. And then I think it was a Man U show we talked about, Man United fans will pull up a clip of Højlund, who they've just signed, and make him look like a star. And then a Liverpool fan will just reply with 30 seconds of him looking like an absolute donkey. It's not always easy trying to do your Twitter research or your YouTube research.
Yeah. We just got to trust them. They've not let us down yet with some like Manuel Benson and Anna Zaroury. Like, again, never heard of them. Almar Akdal from Sweden, never heard of him, but they've come in and they've done a job. So, and until that sort of stops happening, the players they bring in turn into absolute duffers, then I'm just going to have to back them and just, like I say, hope they do the business.
We'll get into the numbers and try and make some picks once I've told you about our Patreon page. Join us in fighting the good fight against the corporate gambling. The Patreon, you'll get exclusive access to loads of contests, including the NFL win totals contest. That's got $1,000 first place prize. The SGP Stories podcast, the ad-free uncensored show highlighting the best stories from being DGens. The Discord channel, and all our links to all our content and picks, which always go out for free everywhere. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. So obviously we're trying to make a few picks here, but it's extrapolating last season's form into what's going to happen in the Premier League, which is a difficult thing to do. And so in terms of patterns and trends, it's hard to bring one forward into the other. Burnley only lost 3 games last season. The home and away form were both excellent, as you'd expect from a team that finished on 101 points. He scored lots of home goals, 2.13 goals per game. Went on a mad run between October and February where they won 14 of 15 games. But that is really hard to evaluate. So obviously we know Vincent Kompany is the style of football he's going to play, but just how do they set up? I mean, is it going to be Kevin Keegan style 4-3 every week, or are they grinding out? Are they going to be strong at the back? What's the general pattern of a Burnley game going to look like every week next year, Nathan?
Yeah, it's hard to sort of predict. It's sort of a cop-out answer, but it's hard to predict because I did feel at times of last season, the Championship, the competition we're coming up against, I thought the standard wasn't there. I thought there's a big discrepancy in like the top end of the Championship towards the bottom, and we were sort of, we were just, we weren't battering teams every week, massive numbers, but we were just playing them off the park. It'd be 2-0, but we'd have the ball for 80% of the game. We just kept the ball off them, and we weren't getting much, resistance off teams a lot of the time. They just sort of let us play. They were so scared of trying to get the ball back off us. So in the Premier, it's going to be quite a mixed bag. I think you'll see us take a couple of batterings. I really do. I think, some of the big teams will give us a good shellacking because it's just the naivety of this young team and Vincent as a manager. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like we're going to, come in and storm the league. I think we're going to get a couple of beatings off a few big teams, but I think we'll probably take the game to a lot of teams. I think we'll keep the ball well. We'll move the ball around well. We'll be very, very possession heavy, which is something of a complete stark contrast from what you guys or like other fans of the Premier League would have seen of Burnley in the past. It used to be quite direct and very forceful and very specific, whereas now I think it's going to be quite patient and calm, and we're going to keep the ball a lot. We're going to try and build up play a bit more, and then have quick, strong counter attacks. And I think we're going to catch a lot of teams out as well. I think we're going to surprise a few this year.
Looking at the odds.
I was just Burnley to win there, Malcolm. You mentioned,
go on, Baz.
You mentioned getting the odd hammering.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it last year. You played Man City in the cup.
Yeah.
and got on the wrong end of a 6-0. I mean, there's never any shame getting on the end of that result to Man City anyway. Plenty of teams have done it. Yeah. But you open the season against Man City this year. And I was looking, you've got Man City first and then no game the second week because the Luton game's been postponed due to their ground not being ready, which isn't ideal, I think, for you, is it? Having such a tough start, then a blank week. Yeah. And then it looks like a really difficult run. You've got Villa, Spurs, Forest, and then Man United, Newcastle, Chelsea. Yeah. Coming up in the next 6. Big tough start for you. And that gap second week just looks horrible for you, I think.
Yeah. The old Burnley fan in me sort of expected Luton away, first away game of the season, their first home game at Kenilworth Road. I just thought, we're getting beat there. That's just written all over, like it's just going to be 1-0 to Luton or whatever. So there was a mention that the fixtures would be reversed, but Burnley have declined that from our side. They've said, no, we'll let them because we don't want to be going to Luton back end of the season, winter. Yeah. When they're potentially going to be in and around where we are, so they've actually, they've said no to that. So, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. 'Cause it might give the lads a chance to reset after the City game because it could go two ways. A City game, I think we're either going to get an absolute pounding off City because they're going to be all guns blazing, want to make a statement, or we're going to get that magical result. I think night at Turf Moor, opening day of the season. You've got the whole Vincent against Man City thing. You've got a new swashbuckling style of Burnley. You've got City treble winners. Still might be a bit hungover and a bit, disjointed a little bit with a few departures. And funny things happen at Turf Moor at night, And, it's a strange old place sometimes. It catches some teams out. So I'm the eternal optimist is thinking we might just maybe nick something on that Friday night.
I mean, just to bring it back down to earth, I did look at the head-to-head against City. Your last 5 matches against Man City, you've lost 5 without scoring a goal, conceded 17. I think you can go back further. Seven in a row. You're 25-0 down in the last 7 head-to-heads with Man City. But you're right. You never know. I remember Brentford's first season in the Premier League. They were the Friday night game against Arsenal. Turned up and shocked everyone. And it's exactly that situation as you say.
Yeah. Burnley do like a little opening day of the season or first welcome back. We like a little scalp, we have done well against the previous champions. We beat United when they won the league the first year back when we were in the Prem. We beat Leicester the year after they won the Prem. We beat Chelsea after they won the Prem a few times. So there's some little signs. We have beat City at home before in a couple of good games. Vincent Kompany actually played in that 1-0 defeat when they came to us on a wet, horrible night at Turf Moor. So, I wouldn't rule. I mean, the bookies obviously sway heavily against us, which is rightly so because they are an absolute juggernaut. And but there's some.
Would you rather play City early in the season,
100%,
or in the last couple of months of the season, where
form tells you that you want to hit them, you want to get them early, don't you? You want to get it out of the way.
I mean, Newcastle done that last year. Unlucky not to beat them at St James. Ended up with that 3-3 and a really entertaining game. But again, had that game have been played in April, May time, we wouldn't have got that result, you doubt. But it's certainly better taking them on early on.
Yeah. That game next week, it's hard to explain to someone who's like a non-footballing fan or a non-English footballing fan why you think Burnley can turn up and get a result. Because I think the same as you. Yeah. And it's the Friday night thing, and people say, well, what difference does it matter if it's light or dark? It makes a massive difference, because funny enough, so Munaf, I do this is an American network, Nathan, and I do the MLB show. As you see, I've got the MLB jumper. Nice. Munaf, who does the show with me, messaged me half an hour ago. I've got the message right in front of us, actually. 6:43 tonight, so 39 minutes ago, and it says, what am I missing on Manchester City -1.5 goals next week? So he's just looking at this as in Burnley, a team he's never heard of, against Manchester City, a team he's heard of winning 1-0 every week, and he can't get his head around why Man City aren't going to turn up and batter them. And I don't really know what to say to him, because I'm going to say, well, the floodlights will be on, and people like Nathan are going to be there 5 pints in a frenzied rage. Exactly. And it's hard to quantify that to someone who's sitting in Houston, Texas, just wanting to put $20 on Man City to batter you, but I 100%. I've got a pick for Friday night's game, actually, Baz. I'm going to go off script and and do that in a little while because it's the week of the season, so why not? Overall for the season, Burnley are 1,000 to 1 to win the league. Top 4 finish is 150 to 1. Top 6 is 33 to 1. The top half, 9 to 2. Then the bottom half finishes 1 to 8, minus 800. To be relegated, they are 3 to 1. To stay up, the bookies do fancy them to stay up 2 to 9, minus 450. 12 to 1 to finish dead last. And on the handicap, they're getting a 47-point head start. In my little league table, I think this might have even changed since the first false recording, Nathan. I've got them. I had them down in 16th. I've actually sneaked them up a couple of places. Yeah. West Ham have slumped down one, and Palace are heading in the wrong direction as well for me. So 47 points isn't enough on the handicap. But I've got Burnley finishing above West Ham, and that's a really nice price. It's 15 to 8 plus 187. So not a kick in the arse off 2 to 1. I think West Ham are in a world of pain, and Burnley can get them. So yeah, that would be my one pick. Baz, you got any picks before we let Nathan give us the good stuff?
I mean, I've got Burnley staying up comfortably, same as you. I think I've got them staying up without much of a sweat as well. I think I've got them about 13th in my table. I think they can be certainly the best of the promoted sides.
Yeah.
But obviously the books agree with that as well. But I'd also take them to finish not just above Luton's and Sheffield United. I think they can finish above teams like Wolves, Everton, Bournemouth. And similar to Malcolm, I've took them to finish above a side, and I've gone with Wolves. I think that I'm low on Wolves, whereas Malcolm thinks Wolves might be okay. I think they're in a bit of a mess at the moment. So I'm taking them. It's around even money for Burnley to finish above Wolves was the pick for me, Malcolm.
Okay, nice. Nathan, did you have a little look around in a couple of markets and find anything?
Yeah, I did. I like the Wolves pick. That was a good pick because obviously they're in a bit of disarray at the minute. They're sort of having a bit of a chaotic summer. But I'm going to probably poke the bear and stoke the fire and go for that Sean Dyche narrative and go for Burnley to finish above Everton at 5 to 6. I think there's an underlying something there.
It was brilliant last week when you gave it out. It was brilliant again. We're getting stuck right into Everton.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
No, I think
love that. Yeah. I like that. And what was the price for our top half finish, Malcolm?
It was 9 to 2 it was, I like that. Yeah, I did like that.
I mean, because I think from 9th upwards, I reckon I can name the 9
Yeah,
teams.
you can,
10th down to 15th could be any one of 6, 7 teams, whatever.
Yeah.
So 9 to 2 is not something that would put me off. Like it's anybody that 10th place is up for grabs for anyone. It was Brentford last year. It could be Burnley this year. It could be Wolves, Palace, West Ham.
Yeah, the season will end with sort of that bunch of teams with like 5-6 points between them on it. It won't be a massive gap between sort of 10th and 15th. It will be very tight. So it'll make a nice entertaining end of the season, won't it, for who grabs that 10th spot, I think. And if we finish 10th, I'll be happy. If we finish, 16th, I'll be happy. That's so happy,
I mean, you looked at it last year, it was 9th place was 59 points. There was a 7-point gap then down to 10th.
Yeah.
And then it was massive, another 7-point gap down to 11th. But I still think 10th's there to play for. It was Fulham actually who finished. Yeah, Brentford and Fulham in the top 10 last year. There's no reason why Burnley can't break into that.
No.
I'm interested to get your thoughts on Sheffield United and Luton, because obviously the two teams that we haven't seen a lot of, mainly watching the Premier League last year. I'm interested. How do you think they'll do?
Yeah, Luton are an interesting one because the only two sort of experiences I've had against them last season, but when we watched them last season, we battered them both times, to be honest with you. Not in a massive scoreline, but, we did play them off the park, and they, to be honest, they took me by surprise when they even got, when they just kept staying in the playoffs throughout the season. It was just like, oh God, they're still there. And then they got to the playoff set final, thought, they really took me by surprise, but again, I just think there's something magical about that whole thing that's happening, and a lot of people are writing them off. I think they'll be there or thereabouts scraping it towards the end of the season, Luton. I do think they might just have something with that Kenilworth road. I think that ground is not a nice place to be, and I think they'll catch a lot of teams out there. It's not an easy place to go and play your football by any means. So I do think that'll help get them, get the points that they need to creep up that table a little bit. And I do think they might actually stay up now after. The more I think about it, the more.
Yeah, I mean, we had a guest on. We had our Luton show last week. We had
the
Luton International podcast on, and I think me and Malcolm were more optimistic for the season than he was. He seems very much like happy to be there.
Yeah,
whatever happens.
Exactly.
I think, they're not expecting to spend much money. I think the legacy for them will be the new stadium that'll come from having the money coming from the Premier League. So I think it's very much a case of what will be from them. But I still think you're right. They're going to be in the relegation mix, but I think they could edge it. I think you've only got to finish better than 3 teams, and there's potential there for 3 teams to be worse. Do you think Sheffield United will finish below Luton?
I do think
one I've got down is going down. But
I do think Sheffield United will go down. I think I think they just have a tough season. I really do. They were just sort of. Just behind us, I say just behind us, they were quite a way behind us towards the end of the season. But yeah, they've lost key players. They've lost Billy Sharp. They've lost what's he called now? He's just gone to Ndiaye. They've lost him. They've not got Diallo back on loan. Was he on loan? No, it's Sunderland, that one. Sorry, I correct myself there. But yeah, I just think that it's gonna be for a bit of a difficult season for them, and I don't think they'll be able to get the results that they need early on to sort of give them a bit of a bit of a boost sort of thing as they go forward. So yeah, I have got them to go down, unfortunately, and not the Sheffield United followers won't like me see me saying that.
Nathan, who's going to top score for Burnley next season?
I
put you right on the spot.
Yeah, I know it is right on the spot. It's a difficult one to answer that at the minute because we are in a bit of a transitional period over the summer.
I don't want to hear that. I want an answer. I want the correct answer.
It's hard to know because the goals come from all over the pitch. So, we've lost our top goal scorer from last year in Nathan Teller. It's still very much up in the air whether he's going to come back or not.
Banged one in last night, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Did he?
So the hashtag free Teller must be my algorithm because we spoke to you. My algorithm, I had free Teller all over my timeline last week, non-stop.
I know. Well, I can't say too much on it, but we were contacted by some people close to the club and asked us to sort of jump on the back of it and tweet some stuff out.
Really?
So yeah, so from our understanding, it made us believe that it was very close, and I've not heard anything otherwise to suggest it isn't close. I've just not heard anything on the other end to say that it is close. You know what I mean? We've not heard it isn't or it is. So we just went along with it, a bit of fun, and it's sort of riled up Southampton fans. And there's this weird online rivalry between us now. So we'll don't want to step on too many toes with that one now.
I mean, but I do haven't answered the question yet.
I know I've shirked around that like a politician, haven't I, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. No, I think just this market wasn't up last week when we spoke, so now it is. I was just hoping you would fire out one name and we could get involved.
Yeah, I think Lyle Foster is looking likely. I think he's going to be playing in that number 9 position. I think he's going to have a better season than he did last season. He's favoured him quite a lot in the pre-season friendlies, and he's looked sharp. He's looked a better player than when he arrived. So, yeah, I think Lyle Foster's
he's
looking...
not even on the list.
Is he not on the list?
Might be a hidden... I'm doing his favourite at 2-1. Rodriguez 92. Benson.
Yeah, I think Amdouni will probably take a while to settle because he's new to the league, new to the system. And I think Rodriguez won't get as much time as he needs to get the goals. Cause I think he's probably towards the back end of his time at the, in his playing career at the top level. So I'd like Lyle Foster. I think he might be a long price because he came January last season. He's took a long time to settle. He had visa issues coming from South Africa, being from South Africa. Sorry. So it's took him a long time to settle as a player and as a person. So I think he's looked good over the summer. So I'm a little bit excited for him.
Peghoff's going to move on. He's still there at the moment, isn't he?
He won't be he will not be a Burnley player by the end of the transfer window.
Yeah, I saw today that he was linked with a move to Roma this afternoon while you've been out and about, Nathan. Sure.
Yeah. No, I saw that. Yeah, that's a very odd move for me. I think.
Unless they need
Mourinho
and the nets up and stuff.
I do hope that there's going to be a Roma documentary because about Weghorst and Mourinho is going to be a boxing match. They will. Oh yeah, that'll be fascinating to watch. So that's the end of that saga from us, anyway. Thank God.
We're going to do some FPL stuff in a second. Throw out some Burnley players. I've got one pick for next week. We haven't done this yet, Baz. Next Friday, Burnley against Manchester City. Burnley to score the first goal is 130. Blistering start, mad panic, 7 minutes in, botch, 1-0. Your man Foster's going to score. Burnley to score first is 130. That's my early pick for next week. Underdog Fantasy is one of our favourite sponsors here, the NFL season, right around the corner. Underdog Pick'em is a great way to get down on a ton of NFL markets. Loads of opportunities to win in their daily MLB contests. Make sure to enter Best Ball Mania 4. First place is $3 million. Head to underdogfantasy.com. Use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN. Premier League, fantasy-wise, we do have a listener league up and running. Any Burnley fans who've stumbled across this, come and play. We've got some money up for grabs. We've got 150 quid in cash. We've got some merch in the store. We've got the Egg in a Cup. You can't put a price on the glory. The league code is CVVQAB. That's Cork, Vigoroo, Quattro, Adabola, Bayer. There's no ex-Burnley player start with a Q. We've really struggled with Qs the last few days, Nathan. You've noticed I've changed my tactic. Vigoroo's the reserve goalkeeper, Baz. In case you were wondering. So that's CVVQAB. Now, looking down this Burnley list of players, there is not one priced at more than 5 million, or 5.5, sorry. Oh, that includes Carter, so we can put a line through him. But 11 players are going to run out that pitch for Burnley next week. Opportunity is there for somebody. Nathan, I've already got one in my team still. I haven't moved him out from when you told me to put him in last week. So who are your men for next season, fantasy-wise?
I think my first one is Jordan Bayer, centre-half.
There he is.
He's good. I'm a massive Jordan Bayer fan. He's the Burnley Beckham Bayer, as we all call him now. He's just good. He's solid on the ball. He's strong in the tackle. He gets about the pitch for a centre-half. He pops up with a couple of headers at the back post, so you might get a couple of goals out of him over the season. You might get you'll probably get the clean sheets against, if you rotate him more, you get a couple of clean sheets against this sort of more evenly matched teams to Burnley. So I think he's a good pick, and his value will increase towards the middle of the season. So if you're a person that likes to sort of build your squad value up over the season, I think Bayer will get you another mil and a half, I think, out of his value going forward.
Nice. And then the other end, the goals and assists, where are they coming from?
I think we'll go for Anna Zaruri. I think he's going to feature a lot more than my other pick was going to be Emmanuel Benson, but I think they're sort of protecting his game time. He's not sort of fully fit yet, so I think he might be a bit of a wasted pick towards the start. But Zaruri will be the more consistent performer, and he's very good on the wing, cutting in and having shots, and then going down the other side and getting a cross in. And like I say, with Lyle Foster on the other end of that, there could be a nice, if you fancy it, there could be a nice 1 and 2 to have in your team, a Zaruri and a Foster pick in there if you wanted to go all out Burnley. But I'm struggling to take Haaland out at the minute. I'm such a sheep. So, but no.
We talked about Haaland last night with the Man City one, and you just have to take him out. You just got to look at it as £86 million to spend on 14 players.
Exactly.
And fit it in around him. I mean, I was interested to get your thoughts because there wasn't anyone who jumped off the page for me from Burnley. But as Malcolm says, there's going to be players who will emerge from Burnley who are getting the points, and getting on them early is key because they will be cheap. There's not a defender in the team who's more than 4.5 million. No. I was interested to see if you had any fullbacks who might be bombing down and crosses in. But you've mentioned Bayer as a centre half who can get on the end of them, which is going to. That Bayer's 4 million. So it's a bottom price for a defender who's playing games, I assume, and you just put him on your bench. And when it looks like a good fixture for Burnley, you chuck him in. Absolutely, and as you say, if he's playing regularly at 4 million, his price will go up.
Yeah, he will be. He's a mainstay at our centre half. He's sort of the main centre half, and then the other centre half sort of is the changeable one. He's the sort of linchpin in all that. So as long as he's fit and healthy, he'll be starting in them pretty much every game. And you mentioned fullbacks. I do like the look of Connor Roberts. He's got the ability to sort of get down the wing. He likes to link up with Zaruri, so again, if you wanted to sort of double up on that side, if you didn't fancy Bayer, that might be quite profitable, and you can play them passes into Zaruri, and you know, you might get a few double assist and goals off them too. But yeah, Connor Roberts is good for an assist.
Some of our American listeners will love that, because that's an all-out tactic for NFL fantasy football, and you pay your quarterback
stack
them
stack
them up like that. So see whether that takes anyone's fancy. As I say, it wasn't anyone really jumped out for me, but I'll definitely put a couple of them on the watch list. And
like I said earlier, like it's hard to predict because we're signing these, especially these new lads coming in. That, you know, we've got a new lad called Luca Coleosho that, you know, your American listeners will probably know because he's flirting around the American football system. But he's looked amazing, but he might start the Premier League and look absolutely terrible. But it might be the other way around. He might just have an amazing season. So we're, as a Burnley fan, we're still in the unknown as much as most other fans as well. It's a new level of Premier League. It's a different game from the Championship. So that's why I always tend to leave the betting until the second week. For me, I always want to see how that first sort of week goes. I'm sort of a cop out with that, and I like to sort of watch and be a bit more strategic. So that's why my FPL picks are a little bit like that. I'm a bit cautious with the first week FPL picks. So
that's no way to carry on, Nathan, at all. Get on there. So you first keep the score next week, Burnley, and then you can have a little more chest for the week after.
Exactly.
I think that's everything covered. Baz, do you have anything else you need to grill Nathan about before we let him get on with this Saturday night?
Nothing from me. I mean, just to thank Nathan for coming on yet again for a second time.
No, I loved it. So good. Really, I want to do it twice.
I was going to say, really appreciate it. It's been really good insight.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad you came back and done it all again for us. And good luck for the season. Genuinely looking forward to seeing how Burnley get on. And wish you well for the season ahead.
Yeah.
What's the pre-match ritual next Friday night? What time are you going out? Has the WhatsApp group started pinging you with meetings?
Yeah. A few plans. Yeah, I think we usually go to the Royal Dash, which is like the pub that's been named after Sean Dash. So we'll probably end up in there. After work on Friday and have a few pints, and then probably one or two after the game. Regardless of the score, like we say, win or lose, we're on the booze. It don't matter.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah,
we're just happy to be back in the Prem, happy to be back on football, and can't wait for it now. It's happening. It's a week up to it now. We're ready.
Enjoy it.
But I'm more excited now, having spoken to you, than I was 37 minutes ago, mate. So thank you very much. Like you say, go and listen to the Turfcast if you get a chance, and any Burnley fans who have stumbled across us. Just like to subscribe and come back every week, and we'll give you some picks and just have some general silliness with it. It's all fun and games. Nathan, have a really good season, mate. Hope you enjoy it. Same to all the other Burnley fans. Thank you very much, Baz. I'll probably speak to you in 10 minutes again, because that's all we do nowadays. Until next time, though, we will see you down the road. Cheers.